The Day Before, an open-world, post-apocalyptic survival game that seemingly came from nowhere. The trailer dropped and blew up, quickly gathering millions of views and being shared all over the internet. Everyone wondered how such a small indie development team based out of Yakutsk, Russia, could create a game so rich in features and beautiful graphics. An open-world survival game that nowadays only feels possible in our dreams. Go back to January 2021. An announcement trailer was dropped on YouTube which featured a 5-minute gameplay reveal of The Day Before. The gameplay was incredible. It looked impressive, and being set in post-apocalyptic New York felt extremely immersive. The trailer showcased a PvP scenario which has been a focal point for some survival games for years. We were able to see the looting and inventory management which would be a feature of the game. Importantly, we were able to see the zombies, which seem as though they will be the main threat PvE wise. Hearing the voices and how it plays out, it's clearly a scripted encounter, which is fine. This happens frequently in video game trailers, though it didn't help comfort those who are already dubious about the game existing.
Did you hear that?
Yep, I got a message too.
Great. Maybe I can sell my junk there and get myself a better rifle.
Let's find some fuel and go.
Looking at the comments from the announcement, it's clear that people's trust of video game trailers leaves something to be desired, especially when it's as ambitious as The Day Before. Larger developers with much more funding have been struggling to create a game like this for nearly a decade. The survival game genre is huge, with the likes of Dayz and Rust approaching 10 years old and still holding top positions of open world survival games. There have been many releases in the genre since, which evidences the difficulty of making a game of this magnitude. The want and need from the community for a game like this is monumental. It's been something that has been called for a long time now. So we know there is a huge market gap for a game like this. If it's anywhere close to the standards shown in the announcement trailer, it would easily do extremely well. In the months after, we had 2 more trailer drops. We had one trailer drop in February and one in April. The February trailer consisted of more PvP action on the streets of New York. Once again, this looked extremely impressive and with fluid gameplay. The Day Before graphics are comparable with the likes of The Division, which people are hoping are gameplay comparisons rather than following similar downgrades that The Division received after its E3 trailer. In April, we received an almost 14-minute gameplay trailer. This was met with hype from the hordes of gamers already invested in The Day Before. We are seeing a game that has been called for years. But naturally, this hype goes hand in hand with an abundance of skepticism. The physics and the mechanics that this trailer showed were groundbreaking. There hasn't been an MMO with this level of detail and on this large of a scale ever. It was another scripted encounter which was painfully obvious due to the structure, and once again, the in-game voice communication. It was becoming popular to just meme The Day Before, due to how far-fetched and how unrealistic a task it seemed to complete such a game. I mean, looking at the trailer, the kind of graphical fidelity and the mechanics on show is seriously impressive. There was a more noticeable telltale in the trailer that made more people sure of it being a vertical slice. Here is a short clip of 2 game developers reacting to the first trailer and explaining what a vertical slice is.
I'm getting a feeling this has all been rendered. This is not.
I think it's more of a vertical slice on first impression.
Yeah.
A vertical slice, if you don't know, is this doesn't mean that the whole game is done and it looks like this. This is probably a section that they popped out, and we're able to develop and carve out and make certain things look final when they're not.
This felt even more prominent in the April trailer due to the mud deformation physics when the off-roader was driving through. So now hype is extremely high, though this wasn't without caution due to how impressive everything we are seeing is, with no real evidence to guarantee the end product will meet expectations. More months passed by with no real word or news, and that was until October 2021, when IGN dropped Fntastic and Mytona's The Day Before official release date trailer. This once again gained millions of views, while showcasing even more features such as base customization and weapon modding. We were able to see a very large mall, which once again looked incredible. Arguably, it looked too good to be true, which is definitely what several thousand people were already saying, but that isn't the biggest shock. At the end of the trailer, we were able to see their scheduled release date. Surely this would be a while away, but as the years tick down, I can safely say the majority of people were stumped when it was set to release in only 8 months' time, and all we had seen was what people believed to be popped out, juiced up, rendered trailers. More months passed until January 2022. It's now been a year since The Day Before's announcement trailer. Nvidia dropped a trailer of The Day Before, showing their partnership and also showcasing RTX On, which is a feature that comes with Nvidia graphics cards. Seeing Nvidia's name attached to this game certainly makes it feel more promising. Surely a brand like Nvidia would only represent or promote a product it knows is the real deal, right? Well, we don't really know, though you'd expect that Nvidia would do its research or have seen more of the game prior to posting it on its main Nvidia GeForce YouTube channel. Fntastic made another game called Propnight, which was a cross between Garry's Mod Prop Hunt and Dead by Daylight. In a clever move by Fntastic, Propnight was released in October 2021, which was shortly after the day before release date trailer. This naturally meant the company had significantly more interest, and as such, Propnight was met with more traffic than you might expect had they used a traditional ad campaign solely for Propnight. Having only seen trailers for a separate, unreleased game, sales of Propnight were an estimated $2.5 million according to GameStats.com. Effectively, a company that has shown no real evidence of the day before has managed to amass a significant amount of money on what is a much smaller budget game. This makes you wonder if the sales of Propnight would have been anywhere close to this amount should the day before not have existed. Propnight currently has a review score of 66%, which is very respectable. Fntastic has already made it public that most of their colleagues are volunteers. This is due to a lack of funding, despite the undisclosed amount of money Mytona, the day before publisher, had given them as a budget. The revenue from Propnight could have been reinvested in the day before if it existed, though it is arguable that this could have been a cash grab from the hype of the day before. Once again, several months pass until May 2022, when Fntastic and Mytona released a statement on the day before. Millions of people have added the day before to their wishlist, making the day before one of the most anticipated games in the world. Feeling and understanding the great responsibility that we face, with enormous gratitude in our hearts, we're pleased to announce that the day before is switching to the new Unreal Engine 5 technology. The transition to a more advanced and adapted open worlds engine will make the gameplay of the day before even more fantastic. In this regard, we inform you that the new release date of the game will be March 1st, 2023. This was naturally met with mixed feelings. From one segment of the community, the statement received backlash due to the lack of trust in the developers. This lack of trust was mainly grounded in the lack of sight of any real raw gameplay, and as such, there were still many in the community who were unsure if the game even existed. The other side was more supportive, and hoped they could use the time to create the best game possible. We know how sought after a game like this is, so even the chance of it being released would be a massive success for the survival game genre. From an objective point of view, Unreal Engine 5 would lend itself to a less limiting game engine and would future-proof this game. Due to the ever-growing scale of open-world games, Unreal Engine 5 is more adapted for allowing larger explorable worlds, which seems to be what the day before would like to have. Another blatant issue was that an 8 to 9 month time frame to switch to an entirely different engine is a mountain of a task. It was already clear that the developers were not the best at keeping us up to date, or providing us with more insight on the game, leading more people to believe this wouldn't be achievable. So far, the day before had become the most wishlist game on Steam, which in itself is an accomplishment. Millions of people were still excited for this game and were hoping that it would see the light of day. Tensions were rising in between the developers and the community as time kept passing and seemed to edge closer and closer to 2023. December the 8th, 2022, Fntastic posted on Twitter, "The day before will be shown at a major international event early next month. Announcement soon." This was relatively under the radar, but quickly made the rounds on YouTube. January rolls round and we are greeted with just a 44-second trailer, showcasing stills and a few encounters with the undead. This was an underwhelming showcase to say the least, and failed to generate much reaction from the public. January the 3rd, Fntastic took to YouTube with a video titled "Life at Fntastic." They posted that it would be illustrating how they work and how they create the day before. This video did not go down well. The video started with some of the team showing their work life until it shifted to an ad campaign style video of their app continent, which is what they use to work from home. This was followed by bizarre clips of their colleagues working in remote locations on the day before, which, frankly, seemed completely unrealistic. The community found it misleading. It was clear they were using the video to promote an app and show us next to nothing on development or the game. This ended up leaving quite a bit of taste in the mouth of the fanbase. Since the initial trailer, there has been two situations where it seems they are using the hype from the day before to gain traction on their other products, Propnight and now their continent app. January seemed to be a busy month for Fntastic, as they had also taken to Discord to release a statement. "We are pleased to inform you that the wait for the news regarding our game release is coming to an end. After careful consideration and discussions with our leadership team, we have received approval to share the information you have been eagerly anticipating. This month, we will be releasing raw gameplay footage as per the numerous requests received from our community. This footage will showcase a majority of the features and gameplay elements requested by our community, and will provide a clear glimpse into the current state of development for the day before. This was music to the ears of thousands of gamers that had been following the game's timeline closely. Finally, we were going to be able to see proper raw gameplay which had been called for ever since the announcement trailer. Would this be a turning point for the day before and Fntastic? Unfortunately not. January 19th, 2023, disaster struck. The day before was removed from Steam after all the hype, trailers, and millions believing that there may just be a large modern open world survival game that was polished and felt like it was finally edging closer to becoming a reality. It was released that the day before title was never licensed by Fntastic, rather it had been licensed by another individual. How could a game announced in January 2021 that looked already deep in development not have been licensed by the creator? You'd expect it to be something that was done much earlier in development. How was all of this happening on what was supposed to be a month and a half before the release date? Once again, Fntastic took to Twitter to post a statement on the matter, claiming they had no prior knowledge of this until January the 19th. Right before the release, Steam blocked our game page at the request of a private individual because of the name the day before. As you know, our game was announced in January 2021. At the time of the announcement, the day before game trademark was available. After the announcement of the game, the above mentioned individual found out an application before us to register the game trademark the day before in the United States. Previously, we were not aware of the existence of claims. We found out about this only on January the 19th, 2023, when we received a complaint from him and a request to contact him. Now we have found out all the circumstances of the incident and we will definitely solve something. We previously planned to post a lengthy gameplay video later this month. We'll have to sort this issue out first. We will post a video ASAP. As a result, we have made the difficult decision to postpone the launch to November 10th, 2023. We understand this may disappoint many of our fans, however we want to ensure we release the best possible game. Our 100% focus remains on the game itself and how to deliver you the best game possible. Another 8-month delay and a claim of no prior knowledge of the trademark dispute. It is not hard to imagine the disbelief of the community. A second 8-month delay. The day before would now release 1 year and 5 months after its initial release date. The community began to feel as though Fntastic were both poor in their miscommunication, and when they did communicate with the community, the information shared was misleading. Fntastic would have had prior knowledge of their trademark dispute due to them applying for the license in 2022. Had Fntastic been honest and open with their community from the beginning, they would have avoided the negative associations that began to spread among those who had followed their announcements from the get-go. For the raw gameplay they promised, they released a tweet saying that they would consult with lawyers first before publishing it. It was also released that Fntastic had in fact planned the delay prior to the trademark dispute. These traits of dishonesty are not welcome in the gaming space, as once it has been seen, it becomes increasingly difficult to regain trust from the community. Fntastic are creating a mountain of a task to climb, releasing the day before, and the features they have stated it would contain. So this is it. This is the raw gameplay Fntastic had promised us. Now before I get into this, it clearly hasn't been an easy ride for the devs or the community. Creating a game on this scale is no easy feat. We saw that with the likes of Cyberpunk and the reactions it received post-release date. The gameplay we receive is of a playable character roaming the suburban streets of New York. Off the bat, we can see evident downgrades in textures and player models. We can also see their crafting mechanics and weapon modding. The player then ventures further into the city where they encounter zombies. The playstyle is still the same as the initial trailer and shares similarities to the likes of most survival games. The major issues that the public noticed was that this was nowhere near the same level as the original trailers. The game has undergone substantial downgrades, which are the opposite of what we'd expect given the delay over moving to Unreal Engine 5. Once again, this was met with backlash, similar to the backlash the Division received in 2016 due to the downgrades. Even worse, people were drawing extremely close similarities from the trailer, comparing them to the likes of a Call of Duty trailer, where it looks like their trailer has been copied shot for shot at the start. When it comes to creating games and art in general, inspiration will always be valuable, but this looked more like a rip-off while using the day before assets, copying the exact sequences seen in the Call of Duty trailer. February 16th, Fntastic released a video titled The Day Before Dev Vlog, Life at Fntastic. This was finally a real glimpse at some development behind the day before. For the first time, we were able to see earlier renditions of the game where they went for a more cartoon style, similar to the likes of Fortnite. It finally felt like there was more depth to the development process than we thought. It was no longer amped up trailers, but real potential growth of the title. They admitted to shifting the art style to a more realistic theme to allow the world to feel more alive. Fntastic even touched on their title Propnight, and how they wanted to use the game to expand their knowledge and professionalism. This makes sense as they refer to the cartoon art style also being used in Propnight. Of course there is a chance they still use the hype as a means to make money, though at least this time they acknowledged it instead of being oblivious. In fairness to Fntastic, the earlier versions did look good, and even if they released these to the public, it would have been met with a positive response. Was this just too late though? Why did it need to take this long? There has been enough time since the announcement to throw these earlier versions together, but at this point it's just conspiracy. Now here we are in the present day. Fntastic are in the process of sorting their licensing issues and restoring their Steam page for the day before. This has been quite a whirlwind of events and not the best start for the devs creating the game. Do I think the game exists? Yes, I do. Like many others, I believe the initial trailers were definitely vertical slices. They had an image of what they wanted the game to be, and they showed us said visuals until they realised the magnitude of the task they would have to undergo to achieve it. This is similar with many games, in the sense that they tell you what they want the game to become before seeing anything final, though this is generally nowhere near on the scale as the day before has been. I believe the game created far more hype than they anticipated. I am certain they knew it would be popular, but maybe not to this extent. They knew the market gap was there, hence the reasoning on showing their idea of the perfect game in the first place. There is now around 8 months until the next scheduled release date. I would love this game to be the real deal that it was initially, though I sadly don't believe it will release on that level. Only time will tell. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on the day before and the survival genre in general. A game like this, if it were released, could change the survival genre future entirely. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love to know in the comments, and drop a like and subscribe for more videos like these in the near future. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you next time.